and welcome to the Ritual Garden. Today we are blessed to welcome Auburn Lily in the space. Hey.
Hello, hello. I'm so excited to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh my goodness, we are so excited to have you. I am just like grounding myself into the space because I am so excited. Just a little backstory, you guys. Auburn and I met on Threads. Um,
It's true.
And it was crazy. I took way too long to get back to you because I have freeze response to when I'm overwhelmed. And so when I received all these messages, I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do. And then I revisited them a couple months later and I checked out your Instagram and I was already sold, not only by the content, but the vibes. The vibes were there. You were so grounded in your purpose and in your branding and in your messaging. And I was like, I need her to come and speak into the garden immediately.
Oh my God, Purr, thank you so much for saying all of that. That's so nice.
You're welcome. It was it's gorgeous. Everyone has to go check out your Instagram. I actually have it pulled up right here for them to see. But I'm really grateful that you're willing to come and speak on astrology because I know that you do astrology, but you're an intuitive astrologer. And I
Mhm.
feel like you go so much deeper than anyone I've ever seen. So do you want to kind of introduce yourself to everybody and share like your purpose is here, I guess?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for such a marvelous introduction. I'm so excited to be here. Yeah, I'm an intuitive astrologer. I've studied under Virginia Rosenberg, who is a world-renowned intuitive astrologer. And we met because I was managing a metaphysical shop in downtown Asheville, and she was the astrology reader at the shop. And in meeting her, my astrological studies deepened so thoroughly, so thoroughly. And I wound up becoming the administrator of her education program, Sky Scholar. And so every year I take a course essentially. And every year, and it's been since 2020 that I've been administrating this course with her. And it's like every year, the depth of knowing, even though this course is meant to like provide the foundational level, what I find in returning year after year, time and time again, some years twice, because there's like two cohorts from time to time, like just completely revolutionizing my understanding of astrology. And it's so nice to hear from, the outside world out in the wilds that the depth comes through because it is one of the things that fascinates me the most about astrology is the way that I'll never run out of things to learn. There's not an end point to an astrology education. And as a Sagittarius moon, that thrills me. I'm like, give me all the wisdom that I can get. So it's the best special interest of all time. And tonight I really want to talk with you about this theory that I've been crafting. I mean, and this I have a blog post coming out about this tomorrow. So I can, if you connect with me, I can send it to you. It's really kind of like unveiling like the story behind how I've done what I've done. But the TLDR version is I had this dream when I was a kid that brought me this vision of climbing this tree, like up through, like a mirror image of my house, up through the clouds and into this like massive tree. And the person who was guiding me was like, you have to show other people how to get here. Like, can you do it? I'm 5. It's 1997, you know? So I'm like, what the fuck? Like, I'm like, even as a kid, I'm like, that seems like, I don't know. It's like consciousness hit me hard and fast in this lifetime. And so I've been like, my whole life, I've been wondering at this and picking at this. What does this mean? What does it mean first, first and selfishly, what does it mean I have to bring people there? What are you talking about? And also, why was this burden placed upon me? It was like the context, like especially like angsty teenage Auburn. Why? I was like, I didn't even choose to be born, was the mentality, and through my work with magic, I started manifesting, or I started managing this metaphysical shop in downtown Asheville. And there I started offering readings with the Animal Spirit Oracle by Kim Krans, The Wild Unknown. And those readings were random. People would come into the shop and maybe they would want a reading and maybe they wouldn't. And even in that randomized setting, the conversations I was having were all about soul purpose. What am I here for? What am I supposed to be doing in this lifetime? And it felt like immediately like it was my niche. You know what I mean? I didn't even have to try for it. It's like, this is what people are coming to me to talk about. I have one hell of a Capricorn stellium. Venus, Mars, the North Node, Uranus, and Neptune, all like holding hands, doing a little dance in Capricorn in my fifth house, which is the house of creative expression and inner child healing and also like relationship with the spotlight. And so anyway, long story short, I got more into astrology and I was like, astrology is so literal. And I really appreciate that about astrology as like a neurodivergent person. The fact that I can learn for the rest of my life about this topic and the fact that it's so undeniably literal, but also so highly metaphorical and mystical as well. Like all of those things combined just make it the thing that I'm like the most passionate about. And I was like, I know I can find the answers to these questions in the birth chart. And then I started reading charts and I was like, oh my God, I'm doing it. Like I can see it. But what am I looking at? Because I've been known to be like psychically inclined since I was a young kid. Like I said, consciousness hit me hard and fast. And so I knew that I was receiving, this clear cognizant information, this clear knowing. But like, what was triggering that for me? What was bringing that awareness to surface for me? So it was almost like reverse engineering and understanding that I already had. And that's what I have come here to talk to you about tonight. I have been putting together, like I said, it's a whole like journey this week for me with this, which is what I consider to be my life's work, is really there's a free preview of a workbook, there's a workbook, there's sessions, there's the blog post, there's this tonight here together. And yeah, it just feels so good. So I just want to first like really thank you for being here and like being a part of this story unfolding for me and also for you. Really honoring that in this way of activating our highest timeline and this alignment with our destiny. Um, all of our paths led us here into this container together. And that alchemy is not lost on me. So I want to thank each of you for being here. And yeah, I'll pass the torch back over to Samantha. I can be a talker. That's why the slideshow is prepared for later so that I can stay on track. I'm like the TLDR and then continues to monologue for like 15 minutes. Thanks for hearing me. Um,
I'm obsessed with it. I literally had to mute because I was so animated and I was like, don't, no one wants to hear your like Alexis Rose squeals in the background of
Maybe
her
we did,
sharing.
Samantha. Maybe we did.
I am so excited about this because you are bringing the like missing piece of the puzzle. So I would consider myself a very basic modern astrologer. Like got into this in 2020. I also, which is really weird, the kind of mirroring that's happening right now. I also ran a metaphysical shop here in Georgia. I got hired for social media and then ended up being the manager. So it was really funny how that happened. And when you were saying that, I was like, okay, all right, twin, hello, right? Like, hello. So I got into astrology that way, but it was very, my mentor, she is just extremely psychic. And so everything she does is so Age of Aquarius coded, psychic, like time doesn't exist to her, so like structure doesn't exist to her. And so I'm very like modern. Like it's not as deep as it could be. Does that make sense? Like it's very rooted in how it shows up for you today, how it shows up for you tomorrow, what actions you could be doing because of this energy, like kind of very like 3D focus. And I love that yours is soul focused. I think it's really going to bring not only the depth but the integration of both, of like we always have a saying in the garden of one foot on earth, one foot in spirit. And I think that this is just going to be absolutely amazing. So if you want to get started with the slideshow, that way we have time for anyone's questions. Um, I think we have a very more intimate crowd today. So I think we should have plenty of time. So I'm going to pass this right back on to you. There you go.
Amazing. Let's get started. I'm going to share my screen. Welcome. Um, I am so excited to share with you tonight an introduction to the astrology of your soul purpose, what I like to call soul alchemy. I'm experiencing technical difficulties. There we are. So you're probably here, right now, because you know in the bottom of your heart that you're here for a reason. You can feel it. You can just live your life, experience the initiations of your life, and know that this existence is purposeful. You know in your heart that your authentic expression is crucial, a crucial part of this overall story of what is my soul purpose. But you can likely sense that there's something deeper, something more divine to uncover in order to embody your highest potential. I believe that your birth chart contains the blueprint written plainly in the stars. Your natal chart is the map of the sky at the exact moment that you took your first breath. Well, when you know your birth time, which is important. With it, we can decode destiny and understand the agreements that brought you into this incarnation. This is soul alchemy. Envision, if you will, that on some plane of existence, you, embodied as your highest self, were called upon and asked to sign a soul contract that you must come to Earth and live your North Node destiny. That you were shown in vivid detail the trials and tribulations ahead of you, the blessings and the opportunities ahead of you. That you understood the density of life on Earth and that you gleefully and willingly sign that contract anyway. Well, this is what I feel my life's work is understanding what is that thing that we agreed to come here and do? What are the terms of this agreement? Why would why on earth would we make this agreement in the first place? If we knew in our heart of hearts, if we knew everything that could unfold, everything that we would go through, every dense moment, every beautiful moment, if we knew all of that, why are we making this agreement on a personal level? And potentially, most importantly, how do we fulfill it? What do we do? Um, and over the course of the last year, I've done 50 case studies specifically dialed in on the topics that we're going to discuss tonight. But I've been doing this work of picking at, like I was describing earlier, picking at this topic of soul purpose and really generating this theory into being since 2018 at thousands of readings. But 50 case studies really dialed in a scientific method. And right now, we're going to focus on the what. What is our soul purpose? Or else we would be here for hours. And maybe one day we will be. So the first thing that we're going to have to do here is orient to the natal chart to begin to understand. So as I said earlier, I really recommend casting on Chani.com. It's super simple, it's really beginner friendly, and it presents this really clean looking natal chart for our viewing pleasure. I believe this is a chart from yesterday, right before the sun moved into Libra. Um, so it's just kind of random. And I'm recommending that you cast in whole sign. And the reason for this, there's two major systems in tropical astrology. Placidus, which gets talked about as maybe the more accurate version of casting charts, and it's because everything is based off of your four chart angles here. But in whole sign, I have a easier time viewing our unique lens through which we connect to the world in regard to soul purpose, because it actually frees up the midheaven to display in any of these houses, 8 to 12, whereas Placidus locks the 10th house line to this midheaven point. So instead of the 10th house starting at, in this chart, 0 degrees Virgo, it would start at 16 degrees because that's where the midheaven is. But as you can imagine, someone who has their midheaven in the house of spirituality and higher education is going to have a much different experience than someone who has it in the house of magic, isolation, and karmic closure. Is going to be different than somebody who's in the house of career. That's pretty straightforward. So it gives a really unique glimpse into exactly your vantage point, right? So, in terms of orienting to the chart, here's what we want to imagine. We can imagine that the dotted line that connects our rising sign to our descendant is the horizon of the earth at the time of our birth. And everything above the horizon was actually in the visible sky of the earth. We might not have been able to see it with the naked eye, but if we had like omnivision, we would be able to see the placements above the horizon in the sky. Everything below that axis was in the sky below the earth, if you can imagine that. So, like the sky beneath us, that's what's present in the bottom of your chart. So, with this horizon, we can also view, and this is really where astrology like clicked for me, was in, it's one of the first lectures in Virginia Rosenberg's Sky Scholar that she orients us to the chart in this way of describing the horizon and then describing this tree, which is this vision that I've carried since 1997. And in 2021, this person that I've just recently met is telling me that she relates to the chart with this tree imagery. And climbing to the top of this tree lands us in the midheaven. I mean, come on. You literally can't make this stuff up. It's actually insane. So, in this way, with the tree growing at the horizon, the Imam Cholai, the I see down here, is our root system, our past, what we nourish ourselves from, our ancestry, our lineage, our home, our foundation. And the midheaven, or the medium Cholai, or MC, is this peak, what we see, what's visible. Um, Not everybody knows the stories of your lineage, but they can see the way that you engage in the world, right? And the midheaven really represents our public role. It represents the empire we're building, the legacy that we're leaving behind. And as I said earlier, typically the midheaven is going to fall at like the 12 o'clock location if this were a clock. But it can be present anywhere from 8 to 12. And it has to do with like where on the planet you were born, what time of day it was, can kind of like impact the angle. But most often, the midheaven is going to be just about square by aspect, our rising. Um, and as you really anchor into the angles of the chart, we find the way that we perceive and relate to the world. So, this conversation about soul purpose, although the midheaven isn't one of the three placements that I've like, yet kind of like isolated out of the birth chart in this experiment to answer one of these three questions: what, why, how. It's crucial in that we can't understand the way we approach our work in the world without first understanding the midheaven. I think the midheaven, it really illuminates our innate approach to getting the job done. How are we going to go about this, right? Like with what flavor, through what lens, from what perspective, you know, the angles here, our rising sign, usually at the 9 o'clock position, if your chart was a clock. This is your identity, the way that you see the world, down to the I see those roots up to the descendant. I'm pointing with my hand instead of the pointer. Sorry, guys. Up to the descendant. This is our relationships and I believe our magnetism. And then up here to the midheaven, and this being like the pinnacle. What are we remembered for? What is this lasting imprint that we make? Um, and all of these together really color how we move through the world, how we are perceived and received by other people. Um, but I think when we ask the question, where do we find the blueprint of soul purpose in our chart? I think the midheaven is like the classic place to start. Like, if you were to like, I'm sure there's like many articles written about this, probably the midheaven's role in like our life's work. Um, and they're all correct. Like the midheaven is paramount in understanding like what the lasting influence is. And the color trail that we leave behind in this lifetime, especially from an outside perspective. But I just felt like it wasn't telling me the whole story. And so I really felt like these kind of these kind of angles are almost like the cardinal points on like our own compass, they help us get our bearings, um and maybe even help us point toward whatever this is that we're meant to be doing. um and so my focus was pulled to another point in the chart, which we'll talk about in a moment. But first, I wanted to get clear on the archetype of the midheaven, because as I said, the midheaven is really going to add flavor and context to what it is that you're doing here in this lifetime. And so, what I've done, and we'll return to these archetypes when we talk about the next placement in the chart as well. And these are just one one little keyword for you for each of the zodiac archetypes. So, as you're looking at your chart, locate your midheaven and understand what sign rules it. And then hold these archetypes: Aries, the initiator; Taurus, embodiment. I'll read them all out loud, but hold them in resonance in your heart. Hold them in resonance in your field. See how they feel. See what else it sparks in you and follow that thread. I maybe should have said at the beginning, maybe have a notebook if it's your vibe, or a note on your phone, just jotting this down. Your midheaven is in what sign, and what is that archetype to you? And what is that archetype as written here? So we have Aries, the initiator, and I'm going to open up the chat. Feel free to sound off in the comments and let me know what your midheaven is. Aries, the initiator, Taurus, embodiment, Gemini, your voice, Cancer, the nurturer, Leo, the creative, Virgo, the priestess, Libra, harmonic resonance, Scorpio, the depths, Sagittarius, the believer, Capricorn, the architect, Aquarius, the revolutionary, and Pisces, the dreamer. Yeah, see how you feel. I've got someone in the chat grappling with the archetype of the midheaven. And what is your initial response, in your body? How does it feel? And what do you think is the root of that response? When we look at Aries, the initiator, this is about uh a fresh take. This is about a um, instinct to begin, and an instinct to um, see a new way and see it through. Um, John,
Yeah.
what rules my midheaven again? Oh, did I hear somebody?
Yeah, I was gonna say that actually clears it up for me, like how phrasing it of like starting something, or I guess like basically like being the first to do something, or like being like making something happen. I guess like for me, like
Yeah.
I do hesitate to start things. Like I get really anxious about starting things. Like on a small scale, but on a big scale, I start big things. So
Hmm.
but like,
Yeah,
so
because that's your
yeah,
public life. This unafraid to begin something in the public realm makes total sense for you, Monica.
yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing. Beautiful. And another consideration here as we're building and weaving these archetypes together is, what house does the midheaven fall in? A lot of you guys probably have the midheaven in the 10th house. This is the, if you will, like, it's in domicile. That's other astrologers would like freak out that I said that, because it's like crossing wires, but it's kind of true. If your midheaven falls in the 10th house, it's in its like undiluted form. It is the point of career and legacy in the house of career and legacy. When this point falls in another house, it adds yet another layer to the expression. So if you have I actually probably should have whittled this down. I'm using the same slide for both North Node and Midheaven. Really focus in on 8th to 12th houses here. Those are the houses that your Midheaven can fall within. So as I said earlier, someone who has their ninth house or their Midheaven in the ninth house of beliefs, philosophy, is going to have a different relationship to their career point, this legacy point, than someone who has it in karma and magic and isolation and rebirth. Um, yeah, 11th house community. It's it's right there. And we're here. And this is Samantha, and we're here because of you. We're having this conversation here tonight because of your midheaven in the 11th house. So thank you. So as we gather understanding of these archetypes, letting them become like almost like transparent layers through which we can then look at the truth. So we add like a slide of like the community and offering, and we add a slide of whatever the sign archetype is, and then we can start to see the true color of the midheaven. So to discover what it, now that we've kind of oriented, to discover what it is that you came here to do, this unique contribution to the overall evolution of consciousness, I believe we turn to the North Lunar Node. It kind of looks like a little septum ring, and it's in the shape of an N for North Node. It's so easy to remember. When we consider the sign that rules our North Node, the house that it falls within, and the way it engages the other placements in our chart, we can get a clear picture of what it is that you're here to do. So in this way, the lunar nodes create another vital axis in our chart, because the North Node is exactly opposite the South Node. And although the nodes are not tangible objects out in the solar system, we could not take a rocket ship and go be on a lunar node and actually be standing on a celestial body, because they don't technically exist. They're ephemeral points in the sky, but they do have tremendous influence on our direction and evolution. So as we know, the moon orbits the Earth, and the Earth orbits the sun. If we trace the sun's apparent path through our sky, we find what's called the ecliptic. And on this ecliptic, there are 2 points where the moon's orbit intersects. These are the lunar nodes. The North Node is the point where the moon rises above the sun's ecliptic, and the South Node is the point where the moon sinks below the sun's ecliptic. So these are also the points where eclipses can occur, where the sun can get, or the moon can get right in front of the sun, or the Earth can be positioned right in between the sun and the moon, is because at those times, the sun and the moon are within a few degrees of the lunar nodes. So now that we have an understanding of what lunar nodes are, out in the universe, I'm going to tell you a little bit about this vision that really landed for me as I was beginning to understand uh, everything I'm sharing with you. And the vision that I saw was us in this lifetime as an archer, poised to poised to shoot, bow drawn, arrow knocked. The South Node is where we have drawn back the bowstring. This is the realm of our natural gifts, and it's a place where we must release something if we are to fly. The South Node, like, we came into this lifetime gifted there. It's something that we are good at. It's a realm where we are comfortable, and there's something within this realm that we really have to let go of if we are to land within the realm of destiny. This North Node, that's not just the tip of the arrow, but what we're aiming for, striving for, yearning for. It's something that we have to take a leap of faith to achieve. And it is, in my mind, beyond a shadow of doubt, what we have come here to live into. And the beauty of the North Node destiny is that it's something innate. It's not something we have to twist and stretch and contort our way into activating. It's probably something that we're innately living and breathing right now. And whether we're in the highest activation of it, to be determined. All of us here tonight, and all of us here in the world are in different places on our North Node journey. But to be right here, right now on this call, you're probably already leaning into it, right here, right now. And there's this distinct magic in recognizing, claiming, and devoting yourself to this North Node destiny that really, I believe, elevates your soul journey. When we can put all the puzzle pieces together and understand what it is that we're here to do, why we're here to do it, how we're here to do it. There's ease available within that, I believe. So now taking a look at the North Node in your chart, just returning to these archetypes here, feel free to sound off in the comments and let me know where your North Node is. Just returning to these archetypes, you probably want to look at both the North Node and the South Node. And you can see like right across from your North Node is the archetype of the South Node. So if you just anchor with the North Node and then go across to find your South Node archetype, you can begin to, ask yourself, how can I live deeper into the North Node expression? And in order to do that, what do I have to, what goes on the altar? Like, what is this? Maybe sacrifice is a strong word, but maybe like, what is the offering of release? Like, what is the release that I'm offering to this North Node destiny? And finding that within the realm of your South Node archetype. And again, I believe that one of the most important resources for a soul purpose journey is your own intuition. So it's possible that the archetypes, as I've listed them here, these might not be the terms that like really hit for you when you think of the sign. But you carry a lot of astrological wisdom in your bones right here, right now. So see what else bubbles up as well. Oh, Samantha, we have the same North Node in Capricorn, South Node in Cancer. Oh, Virgo, North Node. Zoe, you're in a nodal reversal. This is a really powerful time until it started in January of this year and it runs until July of next year. And this is a time of deep alignment with your North Node destiny. And Olivia, that means you just had a nodal reversal. So you're carrying some medicine for Zoe. um, yes, yes. Yeah, beautiful. And so here, really anchoring into the house that your North Node is in. Um, And the houses do create an axis, so you can kind of feel like the polarity here, self and other. Um, Second, eighth is like the resources that we own, and then it's like what we owe each other. Um, Resource and power, communication and philosophy, home and career, creativity and community. Devotion and karma. And we are really like the priestess in the temple and the divine itself, right? um, so yeah, starting to feel into what this layer offers in the story of what you're here to do. Um, so if we go back to, you know, just my personal example of North Node in Capricorn in the fifth house. If Capricorn is the architect and the fifth house rules creativity and the inner child, there's something here around creatively building structure to support my own inner child healing. And I think with the other configurations and considerations in my chart, there's also something here around holding that structure for others. Um, so Yeah, just as a personal example. Um, when we complete the presentation, I'd love to answer any questions you guys have around synthesizing your understandings here. And I also want to share an opportunity to deepen your exploration a little. I've put together a free preview of my Soul Alchemy Starter Guide. Now, the full version of this guide answers why and how, and offers a guided practice in making sense of all of these details, putting them all together, lacing them all together um, well. But the free preview covers the topics that we covered here tonight and drops you into some just guided prompting around synthesizing the wisdom that we shared. And all you have to do is sign up here on my website. So if you go to auburnlily.com, this is just about what you'll see. And if you enter your email address here, you'll be immediately redirected to download that guide. And you could get started tonight, in decompressing from the session, really turning to your internal guidance system, or returning to it another day. And yeah, I'm going to go ahead and stop the share. I'd love to hear from you either with your voices or in the chat if you guys have any questions or anything that you want to share, any ahas, breakthroughs, anything that's coming up for you.
First, I just want to say thank you, everyone. Oh my gosh, let's give claps for Auburn. That was so incredible. The way you articulate your words and what you're thinking is so crazy to me. Like, I am blown away by the way that you speak, like your voice and how you share what you're passionate about. It really comes through, not only your passion, but your knowledge and the way you share it. So thank you very much for that.
Thank you
And
so
yeah,
much for saying
let's
that. That's like life affirming for me.
oh my God, it's amazing. That's why you saw me being so animated. I was literally blown away. But yeah, let's go ahead and open the floor for any questions because we do have about 10 minutes for questions, you guys. If you wanted to ask her about your chart or your placements and while you're visiting her website and getting the preview, obviously. Okay, go ahead.
I have a question. Can you talk about the sixth house a little bit more as it relates to this concept? For me, the sixth house has always been a little bit confusing because it seems like it's just really big, like what it covers, versus like other ones that seemed a little bit more like tuned into something very specific. So I just want to hear your thoughts on that.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know if you've ever read The Mists of Avalon, anybody here, but it's this really long story about the Isle of Avalon and the priestesses there, and a combination of that book and The Moon Under Her Feet really helped me understand the sixth house in a different way. Not only am I a Virgo rising, which carries a similar core of energy as the sixth house. I have my sun, Saturn, and Mercury in the sixth house of my Virgo rising chart. So I'm very sixth house oriented, and the reason I'm bringing a long walk for hopefully delicious drink of water is sixth house is thoroughly about devotion. When you look at these priestess lineages, they were on a specific diet. They had a specific routine and schedule. They had something that they were tending, something that they were responsible for, and they had this connection to the divine that was uninterrupted, undisturbed, due to this sacred devotion. And this is where I see like the sixth house, it does cover so much ground because we're devoted to so many things. We see wellness in the sixth house, this devotion to tending the body through what we put in it, through how we hydrate it, through how we move it. through the stress that we put it through and what we do to make up for it. And we see the devotion of the things that we love, our hobbies, our passions, our interests. We see the devotion of to the divine, our faith, our spirituality, our practices that keep us in our faith and our spirituality. And, you know, I think we also are devoted to our people. We're also, I mean, the list of what we're devoted to goes on and on and on. So the sixth house is huge, right? And in incarnation, a house about wellness is like, listen up. So is that where your north node is, Monica?
Yeah, it's where my north node is, and it's where I have a massive cluster of Capricorn.
Okay, right. And you're a Virgo midheaven?
Aries.
Aries. I'm sorry, that was somebody else.
Mhm.
Um, yeah. So your sixth house is ruled by Capricorn.
Yeah. Yeah, so like that's like my largest, like has the most stuff in it by a long shot,
Yeah.
is in that sixth house. That's
Yeah.
why it's like, oh, I keep trying to figure it out because I'm like, man, there is so much in here. So I'm trying to understand how this relates to me.
Yeah. I think there's this deep, deep calling into presence and devotion here for you. Do you we don't do you want to give me your birth information?
Sure.
Do you have your chart where you could screen share it?
Yeah. Here, let
Okay.
me grab it. One second. Well, let me see if I can do it from here. Sam, am I able to screen share?
Yeah, I'm
She'd have to be
gonna
a
do it.
co-host.
Yeah, I'm about to
Yeah.
turn you
So,
into a co-host. Here we
Oh,
go.
woohoo.
Let's go, everybody. Let's go. Okay. Boom.
okay.
You are just like pro at making people co-hosts now. This was the initiation of tonight's call.
Well, now I have to figure out how to actually.
It's okay. I can maybe pull it up really quick. I just want to visualize it. 'Cause that's the piece of it that's like you can go so deep with the analysis here, when we're looking just at the placements on their own, it's like, do you want to drop your birth date,
Let
time, and
me.
location in the chat for me?
So yeah, let me. I can just drop a screenshot into the
Oh
chat.
yeah. Okay.
That'll work.
Um, Seeing what's engaging the placements and then putting all of that together is where a one-on-one session
Okay,
comes in handy.
there we go.
Loading, loading. Oh, wow, yeah.
Yeah, my
Yeah.
Lilith's in there too.
Our sixth house and 12th house queen.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, if you look, your North Node is conjunct your Neptune in this house of devotion. And to me, this is really about bringing, I mean, if we look at Capricorn being this sign of structure, bringing something to fruition, figuring something out in the 3D realm in this house of devotion with this influence of the planet of dreams. This is about really bringing something to fruition through your devotion. Um, and you've got Chiron in the mix here, and Chiron, spoiler alert, is where we look for why. So in this trajectory of like, it's when Chiron's mingling with the other aspects of this formula, it makes it like simpler. Like we're not pulled in like multiple directions, it's singular. Um, there's really something here around like embodiment, around like what it feels like to be like have devotion be embodied, what it means to um and you know what that elicits for other people as well. And your this midheaven in Aries really gives this like flavor of like this is probably like a fresh take on something that is like dense, you know, whether it's like insights that you're sharing, whether it's the literal work that you're doing. I mean, you know, one thing I didn't say it in the presentation, the North Node is not like necessarily what you go to work and do, you know, like that's assuming that our soul like was really passionate about capitalism, which is just simply like maybe sometimes that's the case. But I think oftentimes it is frankly not. So like the North Node is like the capital W work that we do in the world. And that comes through our engagements, our agreements, our communications, the way we speak to people in coffee shops, not just the way that we speak to people on calls like this, you know. Um, what happens when, you know, you bump into someone at the grocery store. It's like, anyway, sixth house, all of this being like geared toward developing rhythms and routines and rituals that are really nourishing and feel really in alignment for you. And there's probably also something around sharing what you know in that way too, you know, like this could look like there's so many different ways that it can play out in lived experience, but like this could look like you set aside time in your daily routine, your ritual routine to really have this like depth journaling practice, and you're like every day pen to paper, and through that you discover the thing that you're meant to share. Through that you discover an insight that is like the seed for something great in your life. Or it's that you develop a really dope way of journaling and you teach other people how to do it. You develop a journal. You know what I mean? This is just like the example of like adding that into your daily routine. But it's like all these different webs come out because it's not just one thing. Part of living into the North Node is about creating like a network of things that you do, people that you know, circumstances that you find yourself within that all draw you deeper and deeper and deeper into this purpose. It's not this one singular thing that you do, it's the way that you orient in life. Especially in the sixth house, being about daily routine, wellness. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that brings a lot of clarity. Thank you.
Yeah, you're so welcome.
Okay, so that was incredible, and as you guys saw me, I was squealing. Not Monica, like literally having her own deck that she's made. That's incredible. But let's
Oh my
see.
gosh, yeah.
Does anyone else have any quick questions? I don't want to take too much of Auburn's time. If you do want a personal reading, of course, I dropped her website and her Instagram, and I'm going to do it before we close out. But does anyone else have a question? If
Can
not, just
I
give me a
ask a
thumbs up.
quick
Oh,
question?
yay, Zoe. Okay, go. I'll stop talking.
Um, so I'm a little confused uh with my north and south node
Hmm.
because my north node is in the first house, and it's Virgo, and then my south node is seventh house, and it's saying that with the north node being in Virgo in the first house, it's very like getting my own shit together and like depending on myself emotionally. Um, and then the seventh house with is like, which I guess north and south, it's the complete opposite.
Hmm.
Um, but like what?
Yeah. So, I mean, I think when we see North Node in the first house, there's this like bold statement that you are here to be yourself. You are here to be exactly you and be committed to the self-evolution, the growth of who you're becoming, and not silencing that or dampening that for anybody else's approval or um, anything like that. I think that's like really loud and clear with North Node in the first house. When we consider what has to be released, South Node in the seventh house in Pisces, it's probably like well, I think we're looking at polarity, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
I think self and other, that's first seventh house, right? But there's also like seventh house is like what we're seeking and what's seeking us in relationship. And in that way, I think that the seventh house is very much about our magnetism.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes we are actually, even if we have the intention to increase our magnetism, for example, if we're finding an audience or we're looking for friendships or we're looking for community, we're trying to manifest something that we want, we're trying to increase our magnetism. And then we actually contract when our magnetism increases because we witness what seems like losing something, something being pushed away, a repulsion almost. And it's just because our magnet is growing stronger. So the circumstances, the things that are really, really supposed to be drawn to us as a magnet increases, they're more drawn to us. But the things that are more neutral, the things that we actually didn't really vibe with, they will be repelled as we increase our magnetism. And South Node in the seventh house, I really feel like is releasing the fear of that happening, releasing that contraction of like, well, what happens if I make this person upset with me? Or what happens if this person thinks this horrible thing about me? Or what happens if I'm an author and I'm a Virgo rising, so I'm projecting here. But like, what happens when I get my first one-star review on my book, which happened, many times over? What happens when, what happens if I speak in front of this large crowd and nobody understands, like, we have to decrease the fear of the magnetism increasing. I don't have my North Node there, but if I tried to like put myself in your position and imagine, and that's kind of what came through. Um, but in the first house is just anchoring into when you North Node in the first house, when you are in your authenticity, you are in your magic, point blank, period. And I think that's true for everybody. Like that feels like that's like kind of like 101, but at the same time, it's even more important for you. And also I think that it gets to be, well, it makes it more personal. I think the journey, it becomes more personal when the North Node is on one of your chart angles. But it also makes it more natural. You have a natural inclination to be yourself. Um, but sometimes what has to be like unpacked there, like if we're going back to like to the Archer visualization, if what's being released is like this fear of basically rejection, fear of polarity, um, maybe here at the North Node, like the vines that we're clearing out of the way for our shore site to go onward into this North Node destiny is like um, any kind of ceilings or veils or anything that anybody's tried to put on you to like soften your expression in some way. Rules that don't actually have to be rules for you. Expectations that don't really have to be expectations for you. Um, just really clearing all those like cobwebs of the past of like how you have to channel your identity and just let your identity be channeled. Does that make sense?
Yes. Thank you so much.
You're so welcome.
Okay, everybody, I am going to go ahead and close out this session just because Auburn has been so sweet and has joined us and shared her knowledge, and I'm obsessed. I hope you guys are obsessed as well. If you have any other questions, are they able to slide in your DMs or send you an email? How can they get in contact with you? And what offers do you have that they can also be obsessed with?
Yes, yes. I'll drop my so this is my website. This is my email. You can always reach me there. And if you sign up for the free preview, you'll be dropped in the last page has an opportunity for you to get the full guide, which includes like a vault of astrological wisdom, like the archetypes and all that. And it walks you through the full process. And that is my main focus right now. Uh, and in purchasing the $22 full version of the guide, you would also become a member of my membership, which I pretty much just created a free membership so that I would actually make YouTube content, because if people don't come to my calls, I won't, like if I don't have somebody on a call, I won't record a video. And I know that about myself. So I bring you along for the journey of recording my YouTube content. And so it's like, we just did a Venusian ritual last night. We do like the astrology of the month. It's super fun and you should join us.
Oh my God, yes. And I know you said you're an author. We didn't really get into that. Are you still in alignment with your book, or are you focusing on other things right now?
Yeah, I mean, Appalachian witchcraft made me who I am. You know, I moved to
Yes.
Appalachia when I was 17, and it just is what I will always be an Appalachian witch for forever, because this is where I cut my teeth.
Mm.
And the book is kind of like, it's called Appalachian Witchcraft for Beginners, and it is definitely about the history of this region and like the practices of this region and history. And it's also really steeped in my approach to witchcraft. I really looked at this book as an opportunity to like say what, to like impress my lineage entwined with the, because that's what folk magic is, person to person. And so yeah, Appalachian Witchcraft for Beginners, it is my first baby, my first child. I will always love
Yes.
her. And she's on Amazon and some Appalachian Barnes and Nobles, but also available on the Barnes and Noble website. Oh,
Yay!
I think it's also on Kindle Unlimited if you're a Kindle Unlimited person.
Yeah. Okay. Oh my gosh. Well, thank you so much for being here. It was absolutely incredible, mind-blowing. And you will see us in your email and Patreon. Thank you so much for being here.
Amazing. Well, thanks, you guys. Have a wonderful night. It's been so lovely.
It's been amazing. Thank you.
Thank
Bye, you
you.
guys.
Bye. Good
Bye,
night.
John. Okay, you guys. How are we feeling after that session?
That was awesome.
Thank you. Thank you,
Yeah, that was
Monica.
great.
Oh, thank you, Zoe. Thank you guys so much. Thank you, Olivia. I have to stop the recording because I'm silly goose. Okay, so let's